everybody, welcome to another video. So today we're going to talk about 12 most common misconceptions on service dogs. So I have my iPad right here, and I will be reading off to you guys the article I looked up and where it shows like the 12 most common misconceptions. I will be breaking these down and to educate you guys, for those of you that are curious on service dogs, and just so everybody knows and are aware of this. They already have these questions answered on here. I figured I want to make a video on it and talk about the questions here too, because I have my own, I'm educated on this as well, and I've done months and months of research because you guys know I'm getting a guide dog for my blindness. So here we go. All right, so it's on this article called Animal Bliss. I will link it below so you guys can educate yourself too if you guys want to learn more. So the first one is the most widespread misconception is that service dogs are this is quote in quotes, certified or registered after completing their training. So this is a huge misconception. So in the U.S. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, it's a federal law that protects the rights of people with disabilities with service dogs. There's no such thing, certification or documentation for a service dog, because they're not legitimate in the U.S. Those are just scam people that buy stuff online from scam sites that say that they're required, which they legitimately aren't, and that's highly illegal also, and it's breaking federal law, and a lot of people aren't aware of this. This is like I said, it's a widespread misinformation, and it's just very in a way, it's also like it makes it more difficult for people with service dogs to get access, and that's why some people deal with access issues, because people aren't educated on this, but also like the widespread misinformation by people that are spread around. Businesses are not required to ask for certification or registration for a service dog, because there's no such thing, like as I've said, and they can only ask two questions. Number one, is it a service dog required for disability? And number two, what task is the animal trained to perform? They may not ask about the person's disability or prove medical information, because legally they do not have to under the federal law. And it goes with state laws too, because they're similar to the ADA, but there's also other little things on the state level with it. Most of the United States is covered by the ADA in some way or another. It's illegal to ask that also. It's also illegal to have them sign a paper that says your dog can certified, which that's not supposed to be it either. So let's go on to the next question. The next one is, service dogs are only for the blind or deaf. So for me, I'm visually impaired or legally blind, so I'm on the blindness spectrum. That used to be the case a long time ago, but now service dogs are actually expanded a lot more for people with other variety of disabilities or medical conditions like mental illness. I just want to clarify here, a service dog for mental illness needs to be a last resort. So like if medication does not work for whatever your mental illness, then you would be able to get a service dog. But you also have to talk to your doctor if it would benefit you. It's not all fun and games at all. Having a service dog or getting a service dog, it's not easy. It's not like a pet at all. It's considered medical equipment under the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's treated just the same under the law as wheelchairs and insulin pumps for diabetes. Oh yeah, another thing. Also, they do stuff for like autism, diabetes, and mobility issues, and a variety of other medical conditions. As long as the service dog is doing a task to mitigate your disability, then that's considered a service dog under the law. Next one, 3. Training only takes a few months. So actually training never ends. So when I get my guide dog, the reason why it's a big commitment is because you're constantly training the dog. It's not like this thing that you're just going to take home and be like, oh, here's your guide dog, have a nice life. No, it's not like that. I'm getting these dogs from a nonprofit organization called Guiding Eyes for the Blind that provide people who are blind or visually impaired like me fully trained guide dogs. Service dogs are generally trained for about 2 years first 2 years of their lives, and then they're fully trained under the federal law. But even though they're fully trained, it's not uncommon that a service dog needs like a touch up or like a little reminder training, a little touch up of training, and just to keep their skills up. It's just like us humans, because if you don't practice a skill in your life, just like these dogs are trained to do, and if you're not committed to keeping up the training and you just give up, outright just give up, the dog is going to lose the skills just like a human. We all have to keep practicing our skills. We never stop. So it's basically the same thing. Think of it like that. 4. Service dogs work all the time and never get to just be a dog. So service dogs, they're never forced to work. I will say that. Dogs that don't want to work, they'll let us know. It's just like us humans. Like, if we didn't want to work somewhere that we're passionate about, or that we don't love doing, we would let the people around us know. So it's like that. Make sure to keep that in mind. They get plenty of time to be off work. So like when I have my guide dog, like I'm not gonna like it's not cruel at all. They love service dogs generally, they love what they do. Like when my guide dog comes and he's at home with me, he or she's at home with me, I will get they just get to be like any other dog, because they're also a family member in your home. That's why it's also a big commitment, because you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that are going to follow the rules and are not going to ruin the training for you or the dog. For them to keep in mind, this is only coming from a guide dog perspective. For a guide dog specifically, when the harness is on, it's work time, but when the harness is off, it's playtime. So that's how it is. That's how they are trained in their mind, so they know what the harness means to them. 5. Bully breeds can't be service dogs. So actually, any breed can be a service dog. It goes down to the genetics of the breeding of the dog. They need to have the right temperament or just social behaviors to do that type of work. If they don't, they wouldn't be a service dog then. They wouldn't be qualified for the requirements for that. Because like I said, they go through intense training to get to be a service dog. And a lot of the dogs have achieved that, but there's also a ton of dogs that haven't. 6. People with service dogs are lucky because they bring their dog everywhere with them. So I understand. I'm a dog person too. Like before I even got applied for a guide dog, I always thought it was so cool. I knew they were service dogs and stuff, but like I knew not to pet them or interact with them. And I've learned that since I was a kid, because I've been a part of the blind and visually impaired community. I know that sounds kind of broad, but I've been a part of that world since I was 3 years old, and I'm now 20 years old. I've grown up around this stuff and how to interact, so I'm very educated on this. We don't bring our service dogs just for fun. We bring them because we need them. It's required. Service dogs are considered medical equipment under the law, as I've said. They're treated just the same as a wheelchair or an insulin pump, but in reality, like, it's not like just something that's just going to be made to work, like a wheelchair, for example, because it's a living thing, like us humans. It takes naps. It's going to get tired. Like humans, like we also take naps and get tired. It's not all fun and games with a service dog. Like I've said, it's a very, very big responsibility. 7. Service dogs know if there are any drugs on you. So I can understand if a service dog, if you would be like fearful of it or anything, but like even though they could smell it, their main purpose is just to focus on their handler to help them mitigate their disability. They cannot be distracted by anything else. They have to focus on their handler. 8. It's okay to pet a service dog if their handler isn't looking. So this is highly disrespectful and pretty rude, actually. You're not only being disrespectful, but you're also distracting the dog from its training. One very little thing like that may not seem that significant to you, but it's very rude to us, because that dog is our mobility, or that dog is an extension of our own bodies that we need to function in everyday life. That's part of our independence. They're not there for fun and games. They're not there for your pets and belly rubs. They have a job to do, and it's important that you be respectful of service dogs and their handlers, because we're both focusing on each other. Number 9, people with service dogs always want to chat. So that's not the case. Like, yeah, we do like to chat about our dogs because it's socially a nice thing to open up about. And I personally want to feel like that too. I want to be more social with people in public, but it doesn't mean I always want to chat. Sometimes I just want to like get my food, or maybe get my coffee from like, I don't know, Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or something, and I just want to leave. I want to go home. Because like just because I have a dog with me, it doesn't mean I always want to chat. Like, I understand that it relates to you, and I want to talk about it with you. I'm happy to hear what my dog reminds you of your dog or whatever. But like, as I've said, like, I sometimes I just want to, like, I don't really want to talk to anybody, and I just want to get up and go. It's not because we want to be rude. It's not because I want to be rude. It's because, like, I'm just not in the mood. I wouldn't be it's the inappropriate. It could be an inappropriate time. And if that person doesn't want to talk, just respect that they don't want to talk, because they're just like anybody else. Like some of you guys that might be watching, like, you don't want to be constantly talked to by a stranger that is asking you personal questions that you're uncomfortable talking about. Like, you don't want to be, like, you just want to, like, get your stuff and go. 10, emotional support animals are the same as service dogs. So this is another big misconception as well. So emotional support animals and service dogs, they're completely different things. It shouldn't be a confusing thing, but there's a lot of, like, widespread misinformation about it. So the best way I could describe it to you is service dogs are dogs, they're not pets, they're working dogs. They're dogs that provide a task to mitigate somebody's disability. Yeah, and emotional support animals aren't service dogs because they do not provide a task to mitigate somebody's disability. Because they're just there to provide comfort to the person. And dogs generally do sense stress and stuff, but they have to provide a task. Then under the law, then they're considered a service dog. It's just like us humans. We have to do a task to do work. But then if we are not doing our job or task, then we are not working. Business owners are never allowed to ask that a service dog is removed. Number 11. So businesses are not allowed to, they're never allowed to ask that a service dog will be removed. But if the dog is out of control and you are not controlling it, like for me, if I wasn't controlling my future guide dog, then they legally can ask me to leave. But if the dog is not distracting anybody or, like, causing a disruption, like barking, doing any disruptive behavior, then you can't ask them to leave because they're not a disruption. And there goes my doorbell. Last one, number 12. Any dog can be a service dog with training. So this goes into, any dog can be a service dog, like any breed, but it goes down to the genetics of the dog and also the temperament and behavioral aspects of the dog. Because I hope I cleared some stuff up for you, and I hope you are educated on this and you learned something new from this. I will link what I read off down below so you can educate yourself too. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Comment, like, and subscribe, and that'll be it. See you guys in the next video. Bye.